Hello, I'm Catherine Cal M. Hernandez, or Cat for short, and I am a student of CS 196 this semester. I will be talking about the 5 topics I have learned in class, what I have reflected upon it, and what I will be doing with my new knowledge. So, first topic we had was accessibility. Accessibility is the practice of making your products usable by as many people as possible. It plays a huge role in software development, but unfortunately, sometimes it is overlooked. Some developers are too keen on delivering output, so much so that accessibility is often set aside. Some reasons for this are: first, lack of budget. Developers are often underpaid, which may result in half-baked products and solutions. Second, it's not a priority. Delivering outputs early is often viewed as greater than delivering quality outputs but at a later time. And third, lack of knowledge. Without gaining feedback from users from different cases, developers have a higher tendency of overlooking their product's shortcomings. A discussion was made in class regarding the ways we can promote accessibility. Some opinions I remember are: first, reinforcing the law. There are a lot of products and services that do not have adequate accessibility, but only those that are brought to light are the ones pointed out by customers and critics. Therefore, the law isn't enforced until someone points it out. This is hard to do because, first, we do not have the means of ensuring every site follows this practice. We do not have proper funding and enough manpower. And second, it will be hard to enforce because it is a case-to-case basis. So the other solution we came up with is proper funding and information accessibility. We have to address this issue from the start by training developers to consider accessibility as one of the priorities in developing products and services. We can reduce the number of produced outputs with limited accessibility. We should know the gravity that accessibility holds in the outputs that we produce. Second is software and hardware design, or specifically dark patterns. Dark patterns are tricks used in websites and apps that make you do things that you didn't mean to do. It is basically their way of getting what they want from you. Out of all that was reported, the ones I remember the most are 4. First, Roach Motel. This is wherein you can get into a situation very easily, but it is very hard to get out of it. Some examples are subscriptions. Second, confirm shaming. This is wherein the option to decline is worded in such a way that it shames the user when they are declining an offer and praises you for compliance. Third is forced continuity. This is wherein your free trial with the service comes to an end and automatically renews it to a premium subscription. When partnered with Roach Motel, it can get very dangerous. And lastly, disguised ads. Advertisers are disguising their ads as part of a website, so it can garner more clicks. Third, internet advertising and privacy. We already have a Data Privacy Act, which you can read more on through a quick Google search. We tackled the link between data privacy and internet advertising. Companies are now using our data to tailor ads suited to our interests. They do this by knowing what we post about or what sites we have visited. This is called highly targeted ads. With this, when you click on ads, they can generate more ad revenue. Regarding propaganda, discrimination, and filter bubble, or sometimes called echo chambers, we have the dangers of trolls. Because the majority of people now have access to social media, it is now being used as a means of swaying public opinion. One way to do this is through bots and paid trolls. Without adequate filtering of fake news, the excessive posting of trolls on specific opinions would fill up timelines and ultimately have the capability of swaying the opinion of the general public. And I think especially in our country, this is very dangerous. Next topic is artificial intelligence, or AI. With the innovation of technology, we have AI wherein we have models that we train in order to perform well. First, we tackle the method of collecting training data. One case is in the US, because in the US, the use of facial recognition is only tackled at a federal level. Companies such as Clearview AI emerged. It is a company that scrapes information and data to use to train their models. My takeaway from this is that, to an extent, facial recognition is useful to have, or AI is useful to have. However, the end doesn't justify the means. If to have incredibly accurate facial recognition or models, one must first invade people's privacy and scrape their data for the sake of training their machines, then there's a problem. So now that we know that collection of data is important, we now tackle the content of the training data itself. Poor selection of training data can result in biases, and algorithmic bias hurts people with disabilities. There is a case wherein, in hiring, algorithm-driven tools will identify characteristics shared by the company's successful existing employees and look for those traits in new hires. But as the model treats underrepresented traits as undesired traits, people with disabilities or people in the marginalized groups risk being excluded. To quote in this article, if an algorithm's training data lacks diversity, it can entrench existing patterns of exclusion in deeply harmful ways. End quote. My takeaway from this is that there are things we can and cannot rely on AI. That is, at the moment. In cases such as this, wherein hiring is relied on algorithms, we cannot just use statistical data in coming up with decisions. As shown in the solution mentioned here, employees must weigh in algorithms themselves and if there really is a need for an AI test. There is a clear gap between solutions promised by AI and the mental capacity of the human brain. We are capable of things that machines are not, at least as of the moment. This includes empathy and understanding. I think AI can be used on a variety of things, but we cannot fully rely on it due to its limitations. Lastly, we have software piracy. Software piracy is the unethical consumption and use of products and services. Of course, premium software are much more known, so I think it casts a shadow over open source softwares that are similar to it. In my opinion, software piracy is hard to monitor and enforce, especially since it is very rampant. One way to tackle this is by informing people of the open source alternatives of the premium softwares that they are aiming for. Now that I have discussed the topics, I'll discuss what I will do with my new knowledge. I would like to mention the fact that I am planning on being in the field of designing user interfaces and user experiences, so most of my reflection is leaning towards that field. So first, on accessibility, by being more aware and wary of considering accessibility before designing UX and UI, I think I can help in providing more quality and more accessible products and services. On dark patterns, specifically software and hardware design, upon learning about these, I'll be more aware of the things presented to me by services before making an action. I think that by being aware that sites can use dark patterns to get what they want, I would be more wary and not be easily trusting of sites. We shouldn't be easily trusting of sites. I can do this by not making rash decisions on the internet and taking my time before making one. As a designer, I should rely less, or not at all if possible, on dark patterns when I design. On internet advertising and privacy, regarding data, because we may not know what is happening behind the scenes, ethical use of data is quite hard to enforce. Therefore, as users, it may be a band-aid solution, but we should have more control over the information we share with their service. We should know which information is required, which we would be okay with being made known, so that we have more control over what the people behind the services have access to. In our country, there's a huge number of paid trolls that's skewing the opinion of the general public. More trolls equals more fake news, especially given that even public officials perpetuate this. As users, we should be more critical of the information presented before us, and we should not be part of the problem. On AI, we should know when to use and rely on AI and when it is not needed. Right now, AI is not capable of everything. For me, AI should be used as a means of supporting us in decision making, but not fully making decisions that would affect people. And on software privacy, again, it is hard to enforce because of the rampant piracy happening, but you can do your part in supporting the developers by by ethically using their products and services. Thank you.